What is a positivist theory? The outcome of any physicist, any studies, the academic outcome is a validated theory most of the, usually. So you want to have a theory at the end, and a theory is relationships, one relationship or many relationship among, two or more constructs. Interpretivist, another paradigm, they believe that these constructs can be anything, these relationships can be anything. But positivism believe that the relationships must be falsifiable. That means you can reject that relationship between two constructs using empirical data, using observation, using experience, using uh, any method that you can gather data about, gather facts about, and then try to refute the suggested proposition. Okay, we have 5 types of positivist outcome. That means that when I read your thesis, I would like to see one of these, outcome if you're taking the positivist case study approach, for example. First, a variance theory. In variance theory, you have several constructs that are measurable. You can assign a high or low value to them, and the arrows mean that there is a kind of causal or correlational relationship between these constructs. That means if you increase x1, y will be increased if you control for other variables. If you increase x2, y will be decreased if you control for other x's here. This is the most common outcome in in the top MIS journals, and it's the focus of this presentation as well. Process theory is the second outcome. It's rarely seen in top journals, but it exists there. These kind of outcome, you can find them in top journals as well. This outcome is about existing processes, sequence of events or sequence of actions. So you would try to figure out, for example, when you try to when you bump into an IT attack, what an organization does. For example, they first do this, then this, then this. Or what happens to an organization when it's under attack? First this happens to this organization, then this, then this. So note that this is about existing processes, you're not suggesting what should be done. What should be done is opinion. It's it's sort of a kind of consultation report. You try to figure out what has been done or what was done, rather than providing suggestion of what should be the sequence of actions. The third type of theory is called taxonomy theory. You try to identify the attributes of a new phenomenon. Assume that blockchain is very new, it's 2009, so everyone is is interested in blockchain. You want to find different attributes of this phenomenon. You want to categorize blockchains into different categories, so you have some understanding of these blockchain. These attributes later can be turned into these constructs, and you can find relationship between them. So variant theory cannot be easily done without having taxonomy theory. There must be a kind of paper that suggests these constructs, these attributes of things in the world. There are 2 other types of theory that that I won't discuss in this session. The first type is system theory. Is sort of like a variance theory, but there is a kind of causal loop, or there are several causal loops here. And there is a lag in between the constructs. That means when x1 is improved, x1 is increased, x2 is increased after a while. And after a while, x3 is increased, after a while, y, then x4, then x5, and that results in increasing the value of x1 itself. So everything gets back to the same construct, has an effect on the same construct. The fifth type of positivist design theory is is something like this. You try to provide prescriptions to as contributions, to the scholars, all over the world. You would say that we have a kernel theory based on the literature. Our goal is to improve Y1 and Y2. In the literature, we know that X1 and X2 can increase Y1. X2 can increase Y2. X3 can also increase Y2. So I have a kind of kernel theory. Now, based on this kernel theory, I provide these prescriptions, and these prescription 1 increases X1, prescription 2 improves X2, prescription 3 improves X3, and this is my design science theory. There are different ways to think about design science theory. This is how a positivist will look at a design science theory. I don't discuss again these two theories in this session. Okay, now let's have some exercise so that we understand. You can check yourself if you learn things, So the first question is, what kind of theory is this? This is, a table created by Strong and Volkov. I would like to see your answers in the chat section. Okay, this is a taxonomy theory. You see these writers, these authors, they try to find various types of misfit that happens during an enterprise system implementation. Functionality misfit, data misfit, usability misfit, role misfit, control misfit, and they provide a definition for them. So this is called a taxonomy theory. How about this one? What kind of theory is this? Exactly. So this is a variance theory because you have constructs that are measurable. You can assign high or low values to this. Perceived usefulness can be high or low. And there is you would say that, okay, increasing this will increase intention to use. Increasing perceived ease of use will increase intention to use the technology. Okay, what kind of theory is this one? Again, this is a variance theory, but it's just verified, using data. Here it says that increasing intellectual alignment will increase IT alignment, and increasing IT alignment will increase financial performance. And in reality, they have found empirical support for these two relationships. You can see that they are sort of supported here, but this relationship between intellectual alignment and financial performance is not supported by the data. So again, we have a variance theory here. What kind of theory is this one? Okay, this is not a theory at all. As you can see here, it calls it a strategic alignment model. You have some constructs here, skills, processes. Some of them you cannot even assign high or low value to them. What does processes mean here? Is it existence of processes? What does that mean? So that's another one issue with this. The other issue is that these arrows, they don't have a meaning. They don't mean correlation. They don't mean causation. They don't mean sequence of events or sequence of action. They don't have any meanings. So that's why this is called just a model. Or perhaps it would be better to just call it a framework. The things that you need to think about when you want to think about strategic alignment. So it's just a model, it's not a theory. What kind of theory is this one? So this is a system theory. This is a system dynamic theory. We have causal loops here. You can see here that this causal loop is reinforcing. That means increasing a variable means this variable is going to be increased even more because of other things, because of this causal loop. But this one is balancing. That means that increasing a variable here means that in the next cycle, that variable is going to be, have a lower value. So this is a causal loop. Okay. Do you have any questions? Let me check the chat section. Okay. I don't see any questions here. So next time you see this, that means I will read your